So the first thing you're going to want to do when you derive the quadratic formula from ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0 is use the subtraction property of equality to subtract c from both sides of the equation. So ax squared plus bx equals negative c. And then you can use the division property of equality to divide a on both sides of the equation. So ax squared divided by a just leaves you with x squared, and then you just write the rest of this over a. So b over a x equals negative c over a. And then you use the addition property of equality to add b squared over 4a squared on both sides of the equation. So that's going to be x squared plus b over a x plus b over 2a squared equals negative c over a plus b squared over 4a squared. And the reason that this is written this way is because when you do b squared over 4a squared, you can simplify that by, or factor it by taking the by taking the square root of it. And so the square root of b squared is just b, the square root of 4 is 2, and the square root of a squared is a. So, and then you can use the distributive property to factor the left side of the equation, and you get x plus b over 2a squared equals negative c over a plus b squared over 4a squared. And then you can use the multiplicative identify property, which is when you multiply a value by 1, it stays the same. So in this case, we are multiplying 4a over 4a, and as you know, anything over its divided by itself is equal to 1. So then you would get x plus b over 2a squared equals negative 4ac over 4a squared plus b squared over 4a squared. And then you can simplify this by adding the two fractions together. So that is x plus b over 2a squared equals, this is where you first see part of the quadratic formula, and you see b squared minus 4ac, all of that over 4a squared. And then you can use the square root property of equality to take the square root of both sides of the equation. So if you take the square root of that, all you would really do is just get rid of the squared and obviously the parentheses, so then you get x plus b over 2a equals, the square root of this side is plus or minus the square root b squared minus 4ac over, and then you can just simplify that to 2a for the same reason that we did when we did the addition property of equality up here. The 4 squared is just 2, and then the a squared just becomes a. And then finally, you can use the subtraction property of equality, and this gives you your quadratic formula, and that is x equals, so you subtract the b over 2a from both sides. That gives you negative b over 2a plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. And since they're both over the same thing, really, if you wanted to, you could find those to give you negative b plus or minus square square root b squared minus 4ac, all of that over 2a. These two are still showing the exact same thing. And that is how you derive the quadratic formula from ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0.